Hello, welcome to our video series on banking. In this 10-minute session, we'll be covering some of the use cases. My name is David Jennings and I head up our CPaaS sales engineering team here at Webex, and I'll be your guide throughout this module. Okay, so let's get into it. Starting with the challenges facing banks today. Digital disruption has transformed the banking sector. Institutions now need to keep up with changing regulations, rising consumer expectations as well. And to stay relevant, banks have got to be where their customers are on the latest channels. They've got to have an always-on 24/7 service with automation incorporated for self-service and proactive messaging where possible. And they must give customers info that they need before they ask for it. That's what we call being proactive. Security is huge. Ensure customers' accounts feel safe and you combat major issues like fraud. And tailor communications. Ensure they are just for me and they feel personalized. That will also increase trust in many situations and many use cases. So let's move on to why does this matter? So some of the key benefits really revolve around reducing frictions in journeys like fraud, lowering the operating costs, reducing the contact center costs involved, as well as increasing trust through solutions that demonstrate customer protection and increasing collection rates for journeys like payments, and all the while increasing CSAT, increasing customer satisfaction scores while doing all of this. So in the next few use cases that we're going to get into, we'll talk about some of the ways we're doing this, and we'll incorporate some of the following themes. We'll talk about fraud protection, payments and collection services, as well as how we orchestrate complex journeys and importantly, automate the inbound customer service inquiries as well. Before we jump into our first use case, here you see across the entire spectrum, there are many touch points a customer has with a brand. And throughout different points in their relationship, they may be linear, they may not be, and they may encounter some of these more than they do others or never at all, right? They may only encounter one of these single touch points. Either way, we see them falling into these kind of four categories: purchase, service delivery, customer service, and retention. So we'll focus on a few use cases from across the spectrum. And as we expand this, kind of brand communications, I would say in a perfect world, would be orchestrated in a somewhat cohesive manner. Not only from necessarily a customer experience perspective, but also from a digital orchestration, centrally managed perspective as well. And we believe our platform provides that single place to manage all of these and reuse logic and integrations that might exist across multiple touch points. Ensuring you retain context when you move from one state to another, etc. So we want to kind of set that scene before we go into these individual use cases, which can be part of larger customer journeys. So let's jump into some of these in greater depth, starting with discovery phase. I think the easiest way for me personally to find my nearest branch or find anything really is to Google search them or look them up directly in Google Maps even. And it's not just me. Google's 92% market share accounts for billions of searches a day. There are 56% searching on mobile devices. So people are picking up their phones, they're looking for Google, they're looking for your brand, I should say, on Google right now. People develop loyalty to brands and make it easy to purchase products and services and engage and connect with customer support. And Google's built tools, digital tools, to help brands do this effectively. And they include the ability to message customers through these entry points in Google Maps and search. So in just a few messages, retailers can let customers quickly triage a number of different use cases, such as, so obviously we're talking about use cases in general here, but you can essentially pick any different use case and see Google as an entry point. So things like up-to-date information about branch hours, services offered in your local branch, contacting a branch manager, and many more options. You can even complete what we would call very complex journeys, like booking an appointment with a mortgage advisor or a financial advisor, or even opening a new account. So this is a new channel, it's a new entry point into your business where your customers are already, they're already searching, they already are, right? Meet them there. Unlock huge potential for journeys like acquisition and conversion, call deflection, cost savings, customer experience improvement. All of these are possible through Google. So moving on to one-time PIN and MFA. They're some of the most common use cases in the financial services industry today. So How do we differentiate? How do we do this better? So one situation we were in with a customer, and many of our banking customers, they look to enhance security and trust associated with the messages they send their consumers. As you, I'm sure, will know, the industry is rife with scammers. Things like identity theft, data theft, network manipulation on the carrier side, even on the networks. The industry loses $101 million a year. I think that was in 2021, those stats were from. And 82% of customers, it said, had also received suspicious messages on their mobile device. And this is increasing year on year at a rate of about 20%. So banks are worried, they are looking for alternative solutions, and they're trying to evolve as the bad actors evolve, right? So become more secure and gain more consumer trust as this is happening adjacently. So the solution we looked at here was an enhanced messaging experience, which we call branded text. But before we talk about the branded text elements, the first thing we did was just increase personalization. We included message details of the exact transaction, how much they've spent, before we sent them that OTP, not just a contactless OTP that could come from anyone. We also we incorporated elements of RCS for those eligible on Android devices. It's an uplift. A growing percent of eligible customers on Android on RCS and Apple for Apple Message for Business, which is over the iMessage protocol, can receive a branded experience that you see here. This cannot be emulated by bad actors. It's fully branded, it's verified, it has the nice tick box, the check, it's secure, it's as seen here, as you can see, it's got great inbox visibility and makes your brand stand out as a pioneer in secure messaging. This strengthens consumer confidence with that all-important verification piece. And the results we saw in this, we saw around 30% of customers uplifted into these secure branded channels. So definitely worth it from a reach perspective. No additional cost or work for the bank. Of course, we handle all the heavy lifting on our gateway. Enhanced trust. Google estimate around 13% trust increase, and they also estimate around a 10% increase in brand recommendation as a result of this. So tangible results on the business side and the customer side as well. And of course, it's going to increase loyalty. It's going to reduce calls into the contact center. Overall reduces smishing, as these customers know only to trust these messages, which cannot be faked by bad actors. So they know now when they receive another message from a long number that doesn't come from this branded inbox, not to trust it. And it allows the brand to use this across all future programs as well. So really expand into other business areas as well, increasing overall engagement across other campaigns. So net, the line of business is a pioneer for a future messaging strategy within the bank. Okay. Moving on to I guess sticking with, to some extent, the theme of fraud. One customer was seeing around, I think some of our customers, $15 million a day, £50 million a day for a UK customer. Actually, it was about 5.5 billion a year lost to fraud. So top of mind for the business. Knowing which to block and which not to block was increasingly difficult. Keeping customers who were placing legitimate transactions happy when doing so also became a real struggle. Nobody wants to get to the front of their Taylor Swift tickets queue for Ticketmaster only to have your transaction and card blocked for an undetermined period of time, and then you place in the queue, times out. Thankfully, we developed a fraud experience that meets these needs of the bank and their customer and Swifties. Adding detailed personalization of the account, transaction amount, vendor, all of this for added trust, first of all, is really important. And then the automation from the entire process in real time. In real time is really critical. We cater for both the happy and the unhappy path equally. So we attempt a mix of channels as well based on preference and response time. What do I mean by this? So we send an SMS, and then we'll push an automated voice call if the customer doesn't respond within an X minute window, a configured window, say 5 minutes. We really do focus on the rapid response SMS path, as 80% of customers do respond immediately. And so this ensures that those customers, we pass back the information when they respond yes or no over an API, and that either blocks or unblocks that card immediately. And then we provide the confirmation to the customer to either continue with the purchase, or we provide that short list of remaining suspicious transactions over to the fraud specialist team to investigate, either via a digital channel that they're already on, or escalate into a voice call, or via an IVR tree. Callbacks can be arranged at convenient times with the customer as well if they could not speak immediately. Essentially, this results in manual workloads being reduced. We've seen by over 90% in some customers, Customers learn about the data as well, like 0.5% of these require blocking, and that data is passed back. And essentially what you end up with is a simple click and pain-free experience for the customer, which is the most important thing here. Okay, next example, we talked about payments and collections. This can be a very unpleasant journey for customers. Having to remind them to clear their pending or upcoming payments can be tricky for banks, as customers can feel threatened or somewhat cornered. Showing empathy here is always difficult, but very important. And so we helped one of our clients improve this process by what we called an interactive promise to pay program. The bank leveraged Webex Connect to notify customers who had pending payments. Customers could in turn respond by subscribing to what we call that promise to pay option. So I promise to pay within a certain period of time. They can speak to an agent immediately, or they can make the payment immediately as well. So the campaign was a real success. I think 12% of recipients responded to the campaign positively. 85% made payments within the 7 days of receiving those notifications. And the proactive alerts also saved the bank significant costs, as they previously were using outbound dialers and ACDs for voice call escalation, which was incredibly expensive and tying up human agent time as well. Okay, finish with here a demo. So we want to bring this to life and kind of show you a bit more of the technology. And we talked about persisting context across multiple journeys. So we're also going to finish with a multi-step journey that moves across web, starts on web, moves into SMS, and then uplifts to video as well. So on the left-hand side, you're going to see our low-code platform, Webex Connect, where we build out this intuitive if this, then that experience. And then you can follow along essentially with the technology journey there. But you'll also see the mobile phone of the end user on the right, and you can follow along with the CX there. So this all starts with an inbound customer inquiry over a website. It's being intercepted by a chatbot. We're powering this chatbot, and we have intuitive buttons to guide the experience, what we would call tap, not text. It means it's harder for the customer to fall out by just replying with natural language. As they triage through some options, we see the customer setting up an appointment with their financial advisor, the flow branching down the correct paths along the left-hand side, and you can see things like we integrate into the CRM for available time slots. And if we know who they are, we can even look them up against their own advisor's schedule, for instance. So anything is possible here. We can integrate with systems on the bank side all the way through. Once the appointment is confirmed, we check there's some communication preferences. They learn they're not opted into some communications, and we request to be able to send them reminders via SMS for their appointment. And once that appointment time is less than 24 hours out, the reminder is triggered from a new flow. They have options to reschedule, cancel, but in this case, you're seeing they flip the appointment to a video. They no longer can make it face-to-face. We're informing them at the back end, on their back-end systems, I should say, so the advisor is aware, and a link is then produced to, for instance, a Webex video chat, which is created. Alternatively, we can integrate into any other video system. The customer keeps her appointment, avoids the hassles of rescheduling last minute, and the bank avoids a did not attend. So everybody is happy, both parties are happy. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video series, and have a good rest of your day. Cheers.